All right, it is, I think, 9:10 in East Coast and 6:40 in India. So we shall start our second session. And as we discussed, that in these weekly sessions, we'll go through the revisit the universal laws. We have already posted in the group earlier, but not discussed, but it is posted. When we started our group, within 1 year time, we have done that. So we'll revisit all this. So there is a request to go through one by one. So from now and onwards, we will, from every week, we'll discuss one topic, one of the universal laws. So there are total 21 universal laws, and there is one addendum, so which makes it total 22. We'll discuss. So this today we'll start with the first law. The first law is the law of spiral growth. So that we will discuss now. First, to understand that why we need to, what is universal law and why we need to follow them. The whole universe is governed under a certain programs. You can say it is a divine program. And those programs are built into everything manifested, like the physical universe. Wherever this is a finite level, something is manifested which is finite, these laws are applicable. Only the laws, when you go beyond that manifested level, then you get in touch with the infinite level, then these laws directly, they don't apply. So it is the laws of the manifested universe, what has been created by the creator, the one, the universal consciousness, for the whole creation has started. And so whatever has been manifested, it comes under this kind of law. And particularly, we will discuss about what is the implication of these laws into the human being for us, to make it more specific. It is applicable everywhere, but our topic of discussion will limit to what is the impact of the human being on us, how we can implement those laws and into our lives. So what is the purpose of following these laws? Following the law will make your life easier, faster, and smooth. Your growth will be smooth if you follow the law. Growth of any kind. They say either grow or perish. Means that if something or somebody is not growing, it is a sign of perish, like the death. It stops. So in that respect, so to make our life easier, to reach our goals in this dimension faster, if we follow this law, then it will be easier for us to reach to the goal. This is applicable everywhere. Suppose you live in a country and there is a law of the land. So you have to follow the law of the land, then your life will be smooth. If you break the law, then it will be enforced, and there are multiple agencies, they will get involved, and your life will be troublesome. They will enforce this law, or the punishment will come, and things like that. So what is the best way to lead your life? Just follow the rules and regulations so that you are not coming under any kind of scanner of somebody who broken the law, or you become outlawed or something like that. So nobody will come behind you If you follow all the laws and rules and regulations, so that is the best way to lead your life anywhere in any country. If you don't like the law and you change that country, that's then you go to the law which is favorable to you and you go there. That option is there. But as long as you live into that, so you have to follow that law. Otherwise, you will face the consequences. So same here. We are on the planet Earth. So there is a certain laws, universal laws governing this. Whether you know it, whether you understand it, whether you accept it, whether you believe in it, doesn't matter. Okay. Law shall apply. Like normally for understanding purposes, I gave a very common example. Like suppose you go and jump from a 5-story building. Yeah. So because you don't believe in law of gravity. I said, I don't believe in it. Or suppose you never read about it. You never knew that law of gravity is called something, it is there. When you jump, the law of gravity will apply, you will fall, break your leg, even die. So this, it does not matter whether you accept it, you know it, but law shall apply to you. Same here. It does not depend upon acceptance or non-acceptance or believing or not believing. This shall apply. So it is a smart move to understand it, know what it is, and then try to make best use of it. Earlier we discussed about the law of the land, and so we talked about the consequence of breaking the law. Now go to the other side. Within the law, if you understand it properly, then you can do some business, you can do some activity within the law and you can prosper. Because you are not breaking any law. So, and also, rather, there are some laws, if you understand it properly, you take it in your advantage, and then you can utilize them to grow further. So then you are taking the law into your advantage. In other example, if you would like to know understand this, another example I normally give that suppose you are swimming in a flowing river. So if you have to go, you decide which side you have to go, which side you want to swim. But if you wanted to swim against the flow, you have to do a lot of effort. The progress, actual swimming would be very less. You struggle too much and nothing much will happen. You will get exhausted, and that's what it is. That's what it feels like when you are against that flow. But suppose you chosen to go swim in a direction which is the same direction of the flow. You understand which side the flow is going, and you decide I will go from here to here, there. You have to just need yourself to be floating into the water. Water will take you there. You need to just float, minimum effort. Okay, you enjoy the swim and you go a longer distance. So it is up to you to take advantage of what is there, what is the flow, and you choose to go in that direction, you will enjoy maximum. And if you go against it, you will have a lot of struggle, less progress, and you feel frustrated. So this is how we need to take advantage of that universal law by understanding how it is, what it is, and which side it is flowing like a river. And if you align our journey in that, then we will reach our destination much faster. We will enjoy the ride and things like that. So this is how this is the basic consideration for learning the universal laws. So now we'll come to the first law of spiral growth. It is relatively easy law to understand. It is like, you can say it is something come from the common sense. But the growth that it happens in two movements merging together. Two movements. One movement is linear movement. It just say going the longer and longer, but it plays out into the cyclic movement. We are in a time-space dimension. If you see the time, our time is a circular, means our daily. If you see the clock is a circle. The same place that the hour and this hand come again and again. If you are doing digital, same digit appear again and again every day. So if it is a 24-hour clock, same thing is being repeated every day. You don't have a choice to play with this. You cannot make a 25 hours day or 30 hours day. That is fixed. And it is cyclic. The same time will repeat. Sunrise, sunset, day, night. It will repeat. It is a circular. So within the framework of this circular time, then if you need to grow, if you need to move, then the parameter which we wanted to grow in the linear, if you put it there, suppose we consider that as a radius of the cycle which can increase. So if you put that, if you keep increasing the radius of that circle, and time is moving, the cyclic thing is coming again and again. So what you get in the result is a spiral. It is starting and the radius is increasing and increasing, and the same time is being repeated, and finally you will end up in a spiral which is much, much bigger, and that is the fundamental principle of a growth. You do incremental changes, say every day, and it will grow. If you don't do that incremental change, then the linear part is missing. So you will be in the same loop, repeating the same experience again and again and again. And if you say that I will just grow in a very fast instantly from one point to another, it is not possible. You don't have that capacity. Suppose there is a tree 10-meter height. You cannot reach the top of the tree in one jump. So you have to find out a technique. Maybe you put a ladder and then go one step by another. So then you reach there. So there is an incremental improvement is needed to reach up to the top. You cannot go from zero to some value directly right away. So there the incremental, the linear increment is coming. So if you understand this, so there is a linear expansion and put it into the circular time frame, then you get a spiral. This spiral, you can use it for the spiral growth technique. You can use it for any aspect of your life if you plan it properly. Suppose you wanted to increase the knowledge. Suppose you wanted to learn a new language. So every day, if you learn a little bit of few more words, and every day you repeat it, then end of say 6 months, you'll have a lot of vocabulary. You will learn so many things about the language. But only thing, daily you need to learn little, so that your knowledge goes higher and higher and higher. Okay. And if you continue that, you become an expert, you become, you go to a very high level, very highly knowledgeable. Same thing you do for any other thing, any other skill development. You learn little bit every day. Then slowly you will come to a stage you are very skillful. Same thing about your savings. You save a particular amount of money every month, and you make sure you repeat it in every month. It is a monthly cycle. It is not a daily. In the monthly cycle, if you amount and you keep doing that incremental, the linear expansion in that some amount of fund you are keeping it away as you are saving, then one point of time you will realize that you have accumulated quite a plenty amount of wealth simply by just putting that the amount, whatever you decide, whatever you're comfortable with, that amount, keeping aside, not touching it. So this become a spiral growth. And if you keep continuing from years or decades, you will end up into a very high value. So this is a simple understanding of this the growth, these techniques, so that we can apply into our daily life and grow. So only thing is that we need to be persistent. We need to be put incremental. Don't bite something what you cannot chew. So take small increment values, which you can easily manage, and go towards that. That is your daily, monthly, or weekly targets and all, so that you can accumulate and go further and further. So as I give an example for this education, example for the saving, example for the knowledge, example for the skill, all follow these patterns. Okay. So, and consistency is the key. If you do it one day, then don't do 5 days, again one day, it will not make you much progress. It may decay down. Maybe sometimes you have to start again from the beginning. Maybe you forget whatever you have done earlier. So this is a simple growth principle. In the nature, there are other type of spiral growth also, which may not be linear. And because here you say that same amount every time, but in the nature, there are many other the growth, the patterns, and most the famous one is called the Fibonacci series. Like it is what they come back with. If you put that into some diagram or something, it comes out with a golden ratio. I think it is a 1.6. I think 1:1.6. See this series, it is most of the places this series has been applied. What they do is they add, first you start with one, then produce another one, which is the incremental thing I was talking about. If it is a linear, then every say month or week or day you add one. That is a linear. Most common one we see, which is say one, then one, then in the third round, they add, these two and put the third one. So 1 + 1 become 2. And the next one comes, the last adding of last two, like 1 + 2, that gives 3 is the next number. Then the next number will come 2 + 3, 5. After 5 will come 5 + 3, 8. Then 8 + 5, 13. In this way, the series goes. This is the Fibonacci series, what I just told. And this pattern of the growth has been seen in many natural places. This is the golden ratio. This golden ratio means the ratio between the previous number and the next number in the series. So in this ratio, whichever has been formed under that ratio, that has got a much powerful impact. Many of our things, the design of our ear, it is also in the golden ratio. So many things, the length of our finger elements, the first element, second, third, they are all in the golden ratio to each other. So there are many, it is in body parts, it is in the flowers, it is in the plants. There are many areas they have followed this golden ratio. of the Fibonacci series, and they have the maximum potential for the growth. So just take it as an information for the time being. So there are plenty of examples. I will not go into all those details. And there are a lot of books written, a lot of online material available, Fibonacci series and golden ratios. So these you can have a so you can search and have a look at that. So that will tell you much higher level of stuff. But it will give you much higher level of understanding of what that is. Today's topic is not about those series only. In general, we are talking about the spiral growth. So this spiral growth is that within the repetition of that the circular time, if the linear element is involved, then you get a pattern. And this pattern, if you see, like the what is called that the shell, the circular type of shell, what the snails they carry, or we put in the puja and all, we probably conk that thing.
The conch shell, right?
Yes, yeah. So those patterns are coming from this. Those are the keys of that spiral growth. So, and there are different types of spirals. So whenever they grow, they start from that point and then slowly go into that. So bigger and bigger into all by the spiral. So that's how they grow.
Not to interrupt, Rasdeep, but when you are talking about the spiral thing, in your line of engineering, I was in PHL Haridwar and we designed the spiral hydro casings. And the energy formation goes exactly the way you're talking about in hydro casings. So wanted to let you know.
That is right. So now if you follow these patterns, the spiral, it can have a potential go to huge. It's up to you where to stop. It's basically that's a different issue, but it's the potential has to go to infinite. This level of infinite cannot be found in the physical dimension, because physical dimension is always limited. That's why I call it private limited. You cannot have unlimited things. So at certain point, the plateau will come, you have to stop. But in the spiritual dimension, you can grow unlimited. In our 6-step meditation, the 6th step, we go into our expanded awareness. We follow this same spiral pattern. We start with the sounds we are listening within the room, and then the other rooms of our house, outside the house, go to the streets and so on and so forth, then the whole city, then the whole country, and the whole continent, and then the whole globe, even outside that, and goes up to infinite. You can just make the circular expansion of your awareness. And we follow this spiral and to reach to the infinite in all directions. So those domain has a capacity to expand up to infinite. And when you be there, you are feeling of that expansion. So this comes from this same law of spiral growth principle. Because we didn't say you go one direction, come infinite, come back, go another, then come back. It's not like that. It is a spiral growth. Growing from all directions and spiral and then out. So this is the fundamental principles. So it is not very difficult to understand. It is easier. Only you think in terms of there is a linear part involved and cyclic part involved. So if you put together, then you get the spiral. So this is the fundamental understanding of the spiral growth. I will stop here. So if you have any question, that bring it forward, or in discussion you want to share something, just bring it forward, then we can do that now. No question? Everything is clear?
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes, Suma, go ahead.
Sir, whether that spiral is clockwise or anti-clockwise, any
It is
direction?
clockwise. It is clockwise, but normally clockwise, but it doesn't matter which direction as long as you expand. Okay. But in general, I have seen that the growth direction is clockwise. It is better to have the clockwise direction, particularly for the meditation and all. When you follow, better to follow clockwise direction. Why? Because in the clockwise direction, you are going with the time, not against it. So that's why you follow that spiral clockwise. So then incrementally it will increase that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Let's do. Okay. Any other question on any topic? Because we have some time today. This is not a very difficult topic to discuss, so I didn't prolong it. So if you have any other thing, you can ask now. We have that opportunity today.
Guruji, I just want to know this spiral growth during meditation at the end when we're doing that Shiva Vapti state, that we are spirally, our awareness are growing spirally like that. But in others way, how you can use this spiral growth for our spiritual upliftment?
Other means for other persons. Other person.
For me, other ways. What are the other ways we can use this universal law? For me, except for this, during Shiva Bhakti state, we are spirally growing our awareness. I mean, our awareness is getting spirally wide and like that. But except for meditation, how like just in the morning when Mr. Juneja, Hariam Juneja ji said that can we do this like today we are doing meditation for 15 minutes and tomorrow we do for say 20 minutes. You said that time is circle. So that is not spiral growth.
No, because see, anything in the finite dimension will be limited. You can do that. If you every day you do say one minute extra, and after a few months you will have, but you cannot do unlimited.
Yes.
Only in the physical dimension you cannot go that to unlimited level.
Yes.
So, give me another example to understand it better. Suppose you are the jogging, you start with 100 meter. So you say every day I will increase by 10 meter. Okay, it's a good idea. You can do that. After a certain month, then you will say you landed up in 10 kilometers, no? So how long you will keep going?
Yes.
It will not physically possible to go beyond that. So you have to put a target, and when you reach there, you drop that. Then you be there. Okay. So you can use this technique to reach to the target, but once you reach to the target, then it will be linear. You just be there.
Okay.
So what I was explaining to the Hariom, that this is the spiral up to infinite cannot be played in the finite zone. Like whether it is your time for the meditation or time for the jogging or any other things, will have a limitation. You can reach this to go up to that level, to reach your target, and that's it. Okay, you can do that. Of course, that way we will get expanded thing and all. But particularly for meditation, I don't encourage that. Okay, because whole this target business has to be dropped. The meditation is meant to be enjoyed. not to be time counted and followed up, and achievement you tick mark is that today I achieved my target of the meditation. That is a
Yes.
completely reverse understanding.
Yes, absolutely.
You enjoy how much you do, and that's it. That's enough for you. Okay, you enjoy doing half an hour, you do half an hour. Okay, but every day, that's what I put back into that jogging business. But in the meditation, this directly doesn't apply. So that's why in the morning I discourage that. This law of spiral growth is not applicable in the meditation, because meditation does not depend upon how long you are meditating. It depends upon how deep your meditation is. So what in the morning I discussed is, rather than you focusing on the duration of meditation, you focus on duration of your no thought. How much no
Gap
thought you
awareness.
can retain. Gap awareness, how much no thought you retain. That is fine. That you can go up to infinite. Means some point of time will come that thought is not coming back. You reached infinite. Means as long as you want, you can hold it there. So focus on how much gap between thoughts or no thought zone you are able to hold. That should be your parameter, not how much clock time you set for meditation. That makes no sense. Okay, that is not a parameter for measurement of your spiritual growth and progress. Okay, so that's why I didn't encourage that to be included into your meditation schedule. But you can include it into how much no thought you are holding. Yes, that is. It has a capacity to go up to infinite. Okay.
Guruji, regarding this no thought, I just want to ask you one thing. During meditation in the no thought time, thoughts are not there. Okay, if it is there, I'm trying to be aware or being a witness. But sometimes the vision like pencil sketches of faces.
Your video has stopped, frozen. Yeah, now say it again. Your video was frozen.
That during no thought, the thoughts, very frequent thoughts, fleeting thoughts are coming, but some vision like pencil sketches of faces are appearing, which I have not seen. But
Yes.
that's also a part of thought, na?
No, that's not a part of thought. Those are your experiences.
But it's like faces of
Those are not
persons.
thought. Even like in our awareness expansion, we listen to sounds. Those are not thoughts. Those you are listening, you are experiencing something. If you wanted to bring one image, okay, now
No,
I wanted
I am
to
not
see
bringing.
Ganapati. Yeah, then it is your experience. Okay, it's not your thought.
But they are
Okay.
like pencil sketches.
Doesn't matter. It can come in any form. Without form, you can listen to something. Yeah, you can, some visual may come, but mind should not react to that. Okay, so mind should not analyze it. That is the condition. But no thought does not mean no experience. I think many times I've explained this. 45 minutes, 45 minutes no thought does not mean the 45 minutes you have to be blank. Okay. Rather, it will be enjoying experience. You can see many things. You see the floating and color coming and expansion happening. Maybe some deities will come. You can listen to something. You just enjoy. You don't know from where 45 minutes goes. Okay. It is not falling to the blank.
Okay, I thought
It is okay.
I was.
Yeah, I understand. That's what I'm saying. That no thought does not mean no experience. You experience, but don't analyze. That is not to be done.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay then. Yeah. Any other question?
Guruji, I have one question. This is Vani.
Yeah,
here.
Vani first. Chaitali, I'll come back to you. Yes, go ahead, Vani.
there will be like some life changing events happening when there is like, we think that there is like spiral growth, but suddenly some life changing event happens. How do we actually like, go back to like spiral growth or anything like that?
Yeah. See, this is, there was a saying that in the difficult moments that, there is saying, some quotation. So God smiled and say, it is not the end, it is just a bend. Okay, means you don't see, you just take turn, that's it. So in this particular case, if something happens, then pause it for some time. There is nothing wrong in just pause and start again from wherever you left. Okay. So there is not guaranteed that it will not come into, no obstacle will come on this path. And in fact, the obstacles are come to make your journey more powerful. You can empower yourself better at the end of the journey. Yeah. So just looking at there is some obstacle, if you get drop down your path or something like that, then what happens is in this case your ego wins, because our ego in the back door constantly prompting us the uselessness of the spiritual journey. Faida kya hai? What is the gain? And they take excuse in these kinds of obstacles so that you drop down from that path, and then you stopped it because of whatsoever the reason. Maybe you have a justifiable reasons for that. So, but in the spiritual path, I'm saying, sometimes if there is some areas too much obstacle is coming, then you understand that there is some message coming to you that is not the right path you are following. Maybe you have to change course. But if it is just you are doing everything is fine, something happened and you got into busy with all those things, and then you have to left it for the time being, then you come up and pick up and start from where you left. This is absolutely fine. Okay. So it is because we are all working and living in a practical lives, and it is quite possible that you have to do that way. But that should not come without any reason. Like, now I don't have a mood, to do, this spiritual practice, or the drop after 2-3 weeks, we'll see. This is procrastination. Okay, that should not happen. But if there is a genuine thing, somebody where you are doing something, some of your family member falls sick and you have to get busy with him or her, and you could not do this, it's okay. So once everything is settled, you come back and start that, that's all right. So no issues with that one. So this is the thing, but make sure you become alert and aware. This stopping business is not prompted by your own ego mind, okay? Because there is not much benefit there. So it should not come from that angle. So that is my only cautionary note. Otherwise, there is no issues. You stop and come back and continue.
Thank you, Guruji.
Okay, God bless you. Yes, Chaitali?
Guruji, as per my understanding, for our spiral growth, we have to do our sadhana every day. That is the main thing in spiral growth. Am I right or wrong?
No, you are wrong. But you have to do every day, but don't go back to the time business. Every day you have to do 5 minutes more. It is not, that is not what spiral growth means. Yeah.
No.
It's nothing to do with the time, how much time you meditate.
No. But we have to do it.
Yes.
We should do it every day.
Day means regularly, regular increment. Yeah, whether it is a day or per week, per month, but regular interval, it is to grow.
Yes. And that will help us for our spiral growth.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Wherever you put attention, it will grow. Okay. I'm just giving another principle here. Wherever put attention, it will grow. if your attention is for your expanding your awareness, it will grow. If you go your attention for your, say, education, the education will grow because you are giving attention and you are doing it this process. You are trying to save money or wealth creation, same principle. You find out some method to put that earning incremental way, and it will happen. Okay. But anything physical has a limitation. It cannot go beyond that. It is not possible. That's what I was telling. There's always a ceiling there. But up to the ceiling, you can grow. No issues. Okay.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
All right.
Guruji, I wanted to share one thing, and I wanted to ask one thing. Guruji, many a times it's not the obstruction I feel, it's our perception and it's our response to the obstruction which itself creates a lot of obstruction. For example, something bad happens. If I see inequality in life, I grow very negative towards godliness also, and I start blaming the God for everything.
Okay.
I personally feel that there is no reason why somebody should be begging outside and why should I be in a car. I personally feel that making money is merely about being cunning enough to encash your value addition to make that money. There's no that's just being cunning in a certain way. And it's just those people don't have that skill. That's the only thing. They didn't have that life. And I start blaming it on God. And I feel at that point of time, I feel very distant from spirituality. How do I control those thoughts? And it happens. I see that this happens almost on a daily basis.
Yeah. No, I take your point. You have a point. So, see, first of all, that you need not to feel responsible for something you yourself have not created it. Okay? You are not responsible for anything. Okay? These are all happening as per their own laws, rules, and regulations. If somebody is begging, their soul has chosen that life, maybe to settle some of their karmas of earlier births and so on and so forth. You are not responsible for that. In the limited time frame, it looks different. Like if there is a very big circle, suppose very big circular field, if you look at the border line in the 10 centimeter, it will always look straight, right? So, but when you go for the higher, you can see the whole picture. Then you understand it is not straight, it is circular. So that is how we look at life, and we draw conclusion from there. So only thing what you have to do is stop looking into that and drawing conclusion from that. Okay, we are just looking into the part of the whole picture, and then we are drawing a wrong conclusion. In this case, what you do, that the principle I normally teach, I follow. I said, don't play God. It is not your responsibility to make all injustices in this world, to fall justice upon them, and to be everybody should be done this and all. This is a concept. You don't have a power to implement that. So what you can do is you implement within your area of your power and influence, you implement that. You make sure that your children are given a fair treatment from your side. Somebody is working for you, say maybe some servant. You give good treatment to that servant, or maybe your driver. So in your boundary, you do follow these principles into whatever under your control. But which is not under your control, then don't waste time and find somebody to blame to. Okay, it is not that way. Everything has a purpose, everything has a reason. Even the pain has a reason. If some obstacles are having a reason. When in our life we came here to see so many obstacles, means that we are ready for being stronger, and most, our full potential will come out of that. I give an example, like a coal become a diamond only undergoing tremendous pressure and heat of the whole land in the thousands of meters below the ground. Then you take it out, then again what you do, you just cut from all sides, grind, and do all kinds of treatments, and finally what comes out is a diamond. It is having maximum value. So to get the maximum value, to coal become a diamond, you have to undergo all these processes. So those things, if the coal is complaining that why I'm hundreds of meters below and not coming out of the ground faster, then that coal can never be a diamond. It's no need to complain, because we are again looking into the very short frame in the divine scheme of things. And that short frame gives us a wrong conclusion. That's what I mentioned about the big circular field, and you are looking at 10 centimeters of the border. It would always look straight. So this is the kind of thing. So we need to be careful. So my advice will be, do your best, whatever you can. Apply these laws into wherever you can within, which is under your full control. And rest, you leave it to the divine. If you face it, somebody is begging, you just pray for him. Okay, tell this to divine, to the creator, to take care of it, and that's it you need to do, and move on and go with your job. Okay.
Okay.
So that is the most practical way forward.
Thank you, Guruji.
All right. Okay. God bless you. Yes, Reshi.
Guruji, you were talking about this part where you were saying that when you experience certain experiences, we should be experiencing and not analyzing the experiences. But in my case, I have seen I analyze and ruin it at times. So any tip or any method to control the analytical?
If you increase your alertness, then your analytical mind will stop. Alertness. Okay. Suppose in the meditation you are saying some Ganpati is coming. Okay. Suppose, I'm just giving example. Look at it. You find out exactly how Ganpati's eyes are, how the trunk is, how the ears are, each and everything. Very carefully, very with full alertness. Then you are involved 100% into the experience. Thought will not come. Okay. This is one way. If you cannot concentrate on that, your experiences, just concentrate on your breathing. That also will help you to come out of your analytical mind. But to answer, wherever you focus on, if you put 100% alert, 100% attention, thought goes away.
I mean, in the past I've seen, and I've completely ruined it. Am I really experiencing it? Am I really experiencing it? And then the experience stopped.
Yeah. On another thought. And this another way you can, because this dilemma is normal. People think, and in that they spoil the whole thing. Yeah. So is it my thought or it is an experience? That is also another thought, no? So, okay, that spoils it anyway. Here, what we need to learn, I'm just sharing what I did. I accepted it as my spiritual experience. Okay, because I accepted I'm in no thought. Now thought cannot come. All our experiences only. I'm undergoing experience. I'm not thinking. I accepted it as an experience. No matter what I'm seeing. Okay. I may see one, garbage collector is collecting garbage. I take it as my divine experience. I don't say ki, oh, I cannot in the higher deep meditation garbage collector cannot come, at least. No. I accept. Anything can come. And this is my divine experience. You have to do it adamantly. It is my divine experience. Okay. And it happened. Thought didn't come. Because I didn't allow the poking is coming from the ego mind actually. I didn't allow that poking to happen. If I fully concentrate whatever I am seeing, okay. If there is a nothing, suppose I see a brown color straight line, I am giving full alertness about that, what is the edge of the straight line look like. I'm giving full concentration on that one. There is no reason. उतना वो अच्छी तरह से देख के क्या होगा? Doesn't matter. But I'm giving full attention to exactly what is coming in front of me. That makes my thought to stop. Okay, and that is the way forward.
Okay, but like when you are saying this part, isn't it another thought, or is it is part of
No, it is
experience
not
only?
another thought. If you put attention,
Okay.
I shared you one story, in that in the Ramakrishna Mission Belur Math, somebody was complaining there's a lot of things happening around this in your premises to Maharaj, and you don't know what is happening. So he said, okay, fine, I will listen to it and take this one glass full of water. I said, make one round of this whole mud and come back. I will answer you, but not a single drop should fall on the ground. So he said, okay, fine. He just gone around and hold the thing always so that it doesn't tilt and fall down. No? The glass, hold very carefully, and then move around his things and come back to Maharaj and say, this is the glass. And not a single drop has fallen. Then he was asking, now you tell me how many people you saw, how many dirt you saw, how many written on the wall you saw, all this. I said, no, I was concentrating on the glass and that's why I could not see. I said, exactly, that is the point. If you are connected, your full attention, 100% attention, it is not a matter of words. 100% means 100%. Attention to the divine, nothing else matters. You cannot see, thought will stop coming. Because you're fully alert and aware. And that is the state, when we reach there, then thought automatically stops. They lose the power to drive us. So that is the key. This needs to be understood, because this is not a logical thing. It is experiential thing. That's why it is difficult to understand. But if you practice, then you know what I'm talking. Just try. Alertness on anything. Yes, Shuvir?
Thank you, Guruji.
God bless you.
Yes, Rajdeep, I have a question, something similar to what Shirasi was asking. Yeah, when I listen to the instructions in your video, I have a feeling that even listening to those instructions, how to do the kriya, or how to focus on the chakras or whatever, trying to understand the contents of your message is itself engaging me in some kind of thoughts. Because I need to follow what your instructions are. So, okay, you're telling something, do it this way, do it that way. So I'm trying to understand, okay, he's asking me to do it this way. So isn't it a thought itself? I mean, a bit of analysis is coming into that.
No, it is.
Interpreting the
What
meaning.
I'm saying is do it for once, twice, but you will not think about the same matter again and again. No? So once you thought, okay, Rajdeep might have talked about this, but that's one thought is gone. Now you can focus. No?
Okay.
Yeah. Don't allow another excuse, another thought to come. No. Okay. So that's
And
what we need to achieve. Initially, it will be difficult to go directly there. Few thoughts will come here and there, but you settle and move on.
okay, and if images keep on coming, then focusing on the image is not engaging the mind immediately.
No,
So just
focusing on image, focusing on sound, focusing on how you feel, like feeling cold and hot and these things. These are not thoughts.
okay.
I give example, like if you pinch your hand, this is not a thought. It's you felt a feeling. You had that same thing here. All those whatever you're seeing and things, those are all your experiences. Like the pinch, it's not a thought. I'm not thinking about pinching. I'm actually experiencing the pinch.
Okay.
Okay, if you go to that experiential territory, then there is thought cannot enter there. When actually I'm putting the pinch, no, that time I'm not thinking. It's just I'm experiencing that.
So these experiences also can be considered as within that gap, a gap awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some experience, these kind of experiences can be considered as that I'm in the gap only. I'm not thinking, but I'm in that gap region.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. This is all the part of the gap. Gap is just a way to reach there. Okay.
I mean, it is not necessarily a blank mind, not like that. Completely blank.
No, it is blank mind, blank of thoughts.
Blank of thoughts. Okay.
Yeah, not experiences. No? Okay, your senses are there. Senses are working. That's what I'm saying. That you're in a hot, cold, that you feel and listening to something. If somebody brings a rose, you smell the rose. That's fine. That's not a thought.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's go for our. Okay, because this is the last one. Go ahead.
While meditating, or rather doing japa, suppose, we force our mind to focus on the letters or some image. When we are directing the mind to do that, is it a meditation?
No, it is not a meditation. It is bringing, it is some form of meditation, but the meditation what we are talking about, it is not that. I'll tell you why. Any japa or mantra chanting or reading something or bhajan, these are the methods to bring your mind to single point. Like our mind is so many things going on. So bring it to the single point. These helps. Tratak, that you are talking the single, looking at the single things.
Right.
That is to bring our mind from many to one. It is needed. You need that. But in the meditation, from one we need to go to zero. So that's why those are not meditation. Those are warm up for the meditation. Okay, you have done some bhajan for 1 hour. That is not meditation. You're focused on one thing. It's fine. Okay, that is fine. That is better than normal bizarre thoughts in your mind. But that is not meditation. Meditation means no thought in your mind. Okay, from 1 to 0. That journey, that is meditation. Okay?
Thank you.